Gilbert, we're still waiting on a few people, but I need to know what kind of machine are you using? Maria, you're welcome. If you're using a Windows machine, please raise your hand. We're going to be going through the installation of the Cairo dependencies of Windows. I'm sorry, what? You installed Cairo. Gilbert, as we wait for other people, do you mind sharing your screen and show us your installed packages? Because I want to help anyone who hasn't installed their Cairo yet. You're welcome, Simon. Francis, you're welcome. Yeah, I think we can start now. So, those of you who are using Windows machines, please raise your hands. Okay, I'm now going to share my screen and take you through the installation process for Windows. Francis, what kind of machine are you using, please? Francis? Okay. So, for those who are using Windows machines, we're going to start the installation process for the tools that we're going to need to build with Cairo. Let me just share my screen and show you where we should start. So if you have the Cairo book, we're going to follow the instructions in the Cairo book because all the links that we're going to use to install are there in the Cairo book. Okay, I hope my screen is visible. Okay, can we all see what I'm presenting? Yeah, so when you go to the Cairo book, hello. So if you're using Windows, please follow with me. We're going to be installing the packages. So in the Cairo book, just scroll down to the installation page, the page that has the installation instructions. So when you get to the point where it says installation as the heading, click on that link that says Cairo can be installed by simply downloading Scarb. The word Scarb is actually a link. So when you click on it, it will direct you to the page where you're going to be installing Scarb, downloading Scarb. Hello, are we all following? Yeah, please give me some feedback. Let me know that we're all at par. Francis, okay, Maria, please be with me. If there's anything you need help with, uh, you can unmute your mic and let me know. So I'm going to continue from here. Now, when you get to this page, after clicking on the Scab link in the Cairo book, there's this section here, right at the top. At the top, it says introduction. Then just below it, the subheading says installation. So in the text under the word installation. Okay, let's continue. Are we all at par? Just raise your hand or say something. Okay. So I've gone back to this page. So the installation, when you go to the part that says installation, down in the paragraph, there's a link to download. So click on that link. Now this is on the Scarb website. Then this will take you to the download instructions. Now, when you look at all these links here, there's somewhere where it says download and install by operating system. Click on that link that says download and install by operating system. Then in that section, when you check on the instructions, number one says download the release archive. So I want you to click on that link, but I need to know I'm not going too fast. Are we all following? Okay. Maria, thank you for the feedback. Gilbert, Gilbert and Francis and Simon, I need to know we're all at par because I want this to be done before the next speaker can come in and take you through other things. Okay, I'll just continue. So, instruction number one says download the release archive and click on that link. So, when you click on it, it will show you the different packages that you can install to install Scarb on your machine. So, depending on the machine that you have, there are different packages here, But if you're using a Windows machine, look at the section. In that table, there's a section that says OS. So first there is file name, then the kind, and OS. Under OS, look for the section that reads Windows. Now, when you reach the part that reads Windows, on the left side, you can click on the link to download the zip file. So those who are following, I hope we are all at par. Is your zip file downloading? Mine is already downloading, as you can see in my browser at the top here. It's already downloading Scarb brother. Uh, are we all downloading Scarb now? Okay. Yeah, it may take a few minutes. Meanwhile, if anyone has any questions so far, please you can raise them right now. As Scarb downloads, we can be able to interact and answer some questions. I will assume we're all at par then. So let me check. It's still downloading. Perhaps in the next 1 minute it will be done. If you have anything you want to say so far, you can just type in the chat as well as we wait for our installation to go on. Okay, so I think my Scarb is now fully downloaded. In my downloads, it is right here. So I'm just going to move it to the desktop so that it's easy for me. I had already had it on the desktop, so I'll simply replace the one that was there. Okay, now I have Scarb on my desktop, and I'm going to start the installation process for Scarb. So from the instructions we have here, let me just share my entire screen now because we're going to need to see everything. Now I have my Scarb archive right here. Press Windows R. That's your run dialog box, just to help us get the folder where we're going to install it faster. So in your run dialog box, type this command. It says percent local app data percent. Are we all at par? Are we all at par? Some thumbs up so I can know. Maria and Gilbert, are we at par? Okay, thank you. So, local app data, as we've typed it in the run dialog box, just click OK. Now, when it opens this directory, inside this directory, we're going to look for a folder called Programs. So just scroll through your list of folders here until you find the one that reads Programs. Then open it. I want you to create a new folder, and name it Scarb. Just put it in lowercase. So mine is already here. So since you're installing right now, I'm sure yours isn't there. So I want you to create a folder here called Scarb. Actually, let me delete this. I will just redo it. So in this directory here, I'm going to create a folder called Scarb. Are we all at par? Yes. Thank you very much, Simon. So inside this folder, if it's open for you or if you're having trouble reaching this stage, please raise your hand or say something in the chat so I can know. So I have my folder here. It's named Scarb. And this is inside this folder is where I'm going to extract everything in this archive. So when I open this folder, I'm going to extract my details in this archive that I've just downloaded, the Scarb archive, into this folder. So I need to get this file path. I'm going to get it now. Just copy it. So I copy it here, and I come here, click on my archive, and I choose the directory I want to extract to. So in this position here, I don't know which archiving tool you might be using, but I'm sure it has somewhere where you have to put the destination path to where you're extracting the files from this Scarb folder using WinRAR. So I'm just going to paste my destination here. So when you read it, it ends with the folder Scarb in this directory up here. Yes, Francis. So just to resume, So I put my destination, my extraction destination. So I just have to click OK and the extraction process will start. So you can see my folder has extracted into the Scarb folder I created. So all I have to do is just bring these files, or that these directories here, back into the root of the Scarb folder. So I'm going to cut and go back here and I'll paste them here. So what I'm going to do now, I need to get the path, the file path of this directory bin, scarb.bin, rather scarb/bin, and put it in the path environment variables like we're going to see. So I'm going to copy this file path, the file path of this folder bin. You can click on it, and the easiest way to get the file path is you open this directory and then click in this area where you see its file path written with forward arrows. Just click in that section and you'll get the actual file path. So when it selects it, you right click and copy it. We're going to minimize this now. Go back to your Windows Run dialog box. Just type the word Windows R and then type this command. It is sysdm.cpl. When you have that in your Run dialog box, just click OK, and it will guide you to your environment variables. So when the computer opens your system properties like it has, mine has, go to the tab that reads Advanced, and when you get there, on the bottom right, there's a word Environment Variables. So click on it and open them. These are the environment variables. So the system variables are those that apply to all the different users of the computer that you're using. Then the user variables only apply to your user account. So I may not know how many people access your computer. So we're going to use the user variable so that only your account is affected by all the files that we're going to install. If you have any questions, please raise your hand or type something in the chat. I'll be able to see it. So when you get to your user variables, look for the one that reads path. Now, when you select it, like I have already, come to this part that says edit. When it opens, add a new environment variable. Now, this is where you paste the file path that we copied from the other side. So mine was already installed, as you can see, it's up here. But if you have it installed, all you have to do is just paste it here, and yeah, you are done with the installation of Scarb. You just have to click OK, OK, then OK, then OK here. So to confirm if your Scarb is installed, you can open either CMD or PowerShell. I prefer to use PowerShell, and check for the version of Scarb that you have installed. And how you check for that, you simply type the command scarb space then dash dash version. And if you have Scarb installed, it should be able to show you a Scarb version that you've installed. Scarb is successfully installed. And unless there's someone that has a question, so just to recap for those who have just joined, we're doing the installation process for Scarb and Rust on Windows machines. So if you're using a Windows machine and you haven't installed your dependencies, we're already into the process somehow. Maybe you'll watch the video in the Telegram group to help guide you through it. Yes, Maria. Please write the question. Okay. Okay, just say it then. Run as administrator. Running what? Running your command prompt? Mm, mm. Please share your screen and please share your screen and show me what you're saying. Let me let me stop presenting. Please share your screen. We're waiting on you, Maria. No, I can't. Oh yes, I think it's loading now. Yes, you are saying? No, you have to carry this you have to carry that path and make it an environment variable. Yeah, because the language is going to keep on using those files. So you need to put the file okay. You get the point? Okay, the command okay, the command is this. You can copy it. Just copy it and put it in your command prompt. It should be able to run and guide you. I can guide you from there. You're welcome. You think you can move on your own, or do you need further help? Kali, thank you for the feedback. So, we already have our Scarb installed. So I'm going to install one more thing, and then I can move on to the next speaker to take us through the rest of the session. So we're just going to install Rust for those that haven't installed Rust. So if for Rust, it's quite straightforward. So what we're going to do is simply go to the Rust official site, type this word, Rust programming language. Now this is for people using Windows. Click on the link to the official site. Yeah, and when you get there, simply scroll down, rather, sorry, go to the tab that says install right here. This tab that says install. So when you click on it, it should be able to show you the different versions of Rust that you can install on your computer, depending on your bit system. So if you're using a 32-bit system, you can download this, and if you're using a 64-bit system like my own, you can download this other version, the second one. So all you have to do is just click on this link, and it will start the download process. So Rust is already installed on my computer, but I'm going to show you what to do. Okay, now I have my file. I just have to go to where it is, where I downloaded to, and then I want to copy it to the desktop. This is the file that I just downloaded for Rust. So all I have to do is click on it, and it will begin the installation process. So when you click on it, to open a shell, command shell, and there are two options. There are three options here for the installation. So choose option 2 because it's lightweight and it's faster. And when you click on it, it will begin the installation process. So down here where it says continue, can you all see my screen? Can you all see the words in my command prompt? Let me just zoom in to be sure. So here where it asks you to continue, just type Y so it can continue to install. And where it asks you to proceed, just proceed with the standard installation. And the process will go on. It takes a little bit of a while, but everything is straightforward from here. And all you have to do when you're done with this process, because it runs to the end on its own, and because I want to move on to the next speaker, all you have to do is just check for the version of Rust that you have to confirm that it's fully installed. So when it's done installing, like it will in the next few minutes on your computer, you just have to do this. Press Windows R and open your shell again, whether it's PowerShell or CMD. Then to check for the Rust version, just type this command after it's done. Rust C, then dash dash version. So just this is to confirm that Rust is installed on your computer, but also to confirm the version of Rust that you've installed. So if it can show you that you have a Rust version that is installed in your computer, then you have successfully installed the packages that you need to build on Cairo. Up to this point, if there are any questions, I would love to catch them now before we move on, please. There seems not to be any. So the process can continue in the background for you as I welcome Bossa. He should be with us in 1 or 2 minutes from now. As he will take us through the rest of the session. Yeah, you're welcome, Bossa.
Thank you so much. Hopefully, everyone has installed the necessary tools properly. Yeah, thank you so much, Emma. So hopefully, right now, everyone has the necessary tools required. And yeah, I'm just going to do a continuation from that. We are going to bring the Cairo programming language. I really thank everyone who has made it to this point still. Yeah, so this is our third session. It's more of a continuation of it's more of a continuation to yesterday's session. And yeah, today we are going to have some practical session of the Cairo programming language. We're going to have a practical session of the Cairo programming language. I want us to create a directory on our machines. I want you to go in your open PowerShell. We all know what PowerShell is, so you can open PowerShell, create a directory. It's the same command as in Linux. You may give it a name, maybe Cairo projects. So let me present my terminal right here. So create a new directory and call it Cairo projects. Then after that, change to that directory, Cairo projects. So after changing to that directory, Cairo projects, yeah. So to create a new project, we simply say we use Scarb. If at all you've worked with if at all you've worked with Rust, you may understand what Cargo is. So Cargo is similar to Scarb. Scarb is a package manager. So you may just come here and say Scarb is my terminal. Hopefully my terminal is clear. You just come and say Scarb new, and you give the name a new project. Maybe I can call it my hello, and then Cairo test. I'm selecting Cairo test. When you select which test runner, you may use Cairo test or you may use Starknet Foundry. But right now we are going to use Cairo test. So the project is created as fast as that. Then you change directory to my hello. Any questions right now? Any questions? Maria, have you been able to create a new project, or any person who is following, have you been able to create a new project? I want feedback, guys. Have you been able to create a new project? Okay. So after doing that, then you open this in VS Code by saying code dot by saying code dot. So by that it has opened Visual Studio Code. So let me present my VS Code. Yes, so I'm presenting my VS Code. Hope it's very clear. So this is how the project will open. Yeah. So in the project, in your Visual Studio Code, you have you have plenty of files. Trying to look for my VS Code. My VS Code. Where is it hiding? Okay. Okay, just a minute. Okay, I think I've seen it. Yeah, so you have plenty of files in the VS Code. You have the lib.cairo file, and the lib.cairo file is the main file for help. Is where we are going to write all our code. And then you have the git ignore file. Now the git ignore file is used to ignore any packages maybe which you don't want to appear which you don't want to appear in your project, or maybe during the deployment, maybe on GitHub. Those are the files you don't want to be deployed. And then the scarb.toml file is the file which helps us with the dependencies. Yeah. So in case maybe you've installed some packages, and let me zoom a little bit. Yeah. Maybe you've installed some packages, and so all these packages, they appear in the scarb.tml file. So let me follow my book right here. So guys, I believe you are following the book. So the book is what we are following. So whatever is in the book is what I'm following right here. So let me present the book right here, the Cairo programming book. So if you are to follow the book, it says that so we are going to delete all the files. We are going to delete all the files in the lib.cairo file, and then we add our files. So to do that, this is what I mean. So head straight to the lib.cairo file and delete everything which is there. So for example here, I will just come and delete. I'm only going to remain with the main function. Yeah, I'm only going to remain with the main function. So I've deleted everything in that file. The lib.cairo file possesses is the one which accommodates all our code, maybe the functions and every other thing which want to be executed. It's the lib.cairo file which helps. So let's write some code. Uh, let's write some code right there in our book, in our VS Code, following the Cairo programming book. So the main function is the driver of the lib.cairo file. Yeah. So in the main function, to print any characters on the, use print ln, and then you open brackets, and then maybe you can add anything here, hello world for example. That should run. Yeah. No, so I just want to print out this. Yeah. So but now this is what I've added in the lib.cairo file. So to run this file, to run this file, I just come here in my PowerShell and execute this file. So first you want to build the project, so you can say scarb build. So what building does, yeah, it's complaining that we have an error. So we have to rectify that issue. So you go back to your VS Code, and rectify that issue, because it's saying we have an error right there in the print ln function. So let me rectify that issue in my VS Code. Fn main, Control S. Let me run this again. Yeah, so it's print ln, but the print ln in Cairo, we have to after print ln we have to leave an exclamation mark, because that's the syntax. So right there, I run scarb build. So right now it's supposed to run without without any errors. So let me show us that it runs properly without any errors. Let me open my PowerShell. So you can see that it's compiling. Yeah. So what that means that, so yeah, it says it has finished compiling, and it has compiled without any errors. So that's a compilation. So when every time you get a feedback that my project has compiled successfully without any errors, that means that your everything in your project has run as expected. So we shall look at an instance where we have to write tests to verify that the expected results are the actual results we are getting. So that's our first program for us. Any questions in regards to that? Maria, any questions? Francis, any questions? Gilbert, raise any questions, guys. I don't want anyone to be left behind. Yes, Francis, are you following? Maria, you can give me some feedback. Give me a thumbs up. Maria is saying it's well. I will follow up later. My installation is incomplete, hasn't able to work well with the environment stage. Okay, thank you so much, Maria. You can go back and check it. Yes, Francis, are you following properly? Yes, so sorry, I didn't walk us through the process of installation of Cairo in order to be able to use Cairo properly. So yeah, Visual Studio Code is a code editor. Because we are writing code, we need, like, an editor is like a book where you write your poems. Visual Studio Code enables us to write our code in the code editor. Yes, so you need to install it. Can I assist us with the installation? So to install Visual Studio Code, all you need to do, so you head to google.com, head to Google and put in Visual Studio Code download. So with that, then it's advisable to always get it from the official website. So there is an option for Windows, there's an option for Debian, then there is an option for Mac. So you can click on download. Is this Windows? I believe this is Windows 10. So then click on download for Windows 10. So the download will have to start as soon as you hit the, so you can see that my download right here, there's a download in progress. But since I've already downloaded it, I don't need to download it again. So after downloading it, you have to just run that executable. And then after running the executable, you will be able to start using VS Code. Hopefully I've answered that. Francis, are we okay? Francis, yes, have you gotten the installation process? Oh, so I get you. Like, how do we link it up with the Cairo that we have installed? So in Visual Studio Code, you don't need to. Visual Studio Code is just like an editor, yeah. So as long as you see, let me show us something here. So are you seeing? Are you seeing the lib.cairo. So the whole essence of an editor is to recognize, it has the ability to recognize the language. As long as you've installed it on your computer, it has the ability to recognize the language that you've installed. So you just have to, as long as, and for Cairo programs, it's lib.cairo. So as long as you write a file and you've named it lib.cairo, the editor will automatically recognize that this is a Cairo programming language file. So it's not you who does the linking up. So as long as you've installed Cairo properly on your machine, and so and as long as you give the file name, the file the right file extension, the editor would be able to recognize that, well, this is a Cairo file. So when you start to run it, it will run with with the Cairo compiler. Yeah. So am I clear now in regards to that? Francis, are we okay? Thank you so much. It's clear. So still now we have, that's our first program, the Hello World program. It's usually the first program in every programming language. Yeah. So now we are going to head over to the Cairo programming. We are going to head over to another bit of, we are, remember, we are following the Cairo programming language book. Yeah. So I want to talk about something here. Let me, so hopefully my screen now, are you seeing that fn main function? So the main function is the main driver of the project. Yeah. And it being the driver is that everything that we're supposed to run, it has to go under that function. Yeah. So just to proceed, and then we saw it when, so that's how you print anything in the Cairo programming language. So print ln hello world, we saw it clearly. I don't want to go back to that. So you successfully now finished the first basic program in any programming language, which is the hello world program. Yeah. But I want to talk about something today, and that is going to be immutability. Yeah. So let me demonstrate it with code. I say this is gonna be more of a practical session, so everything we are to do, we are supposed to demonstrate it with code. So I want you to head over to your terminal and create a new project. So to create a new project, I have to first exit in the one I'm currently in, and I just say Scarb. I'm creating a new project. Let me call it Scarb new, and I just call it my variables. Yeah, I'm using the default testing in the Cairo programming language. So now my project has been initiated. So I now just have to change to that project of mine. I just now have to change to that project of mine. Yeah, so I've changed to it. Let me open it in Visual Studio Code. So let me open that project. So it's located in, so go to your Visual Studio Code and locate where that project is. So it's called My Variables. Yeah, so that's my project right there. So you can see it has a lib.cairo file. So we don't need whatever is in the lib.cairo file. So you can delete all this. Yeah. So it's, as a programmer, it's usually good to add comments to your code. Yeah. it's usually good to add comments to your code. So to add comments in the Cairo programming language, you use double forward slashes. So every time you have added a comment, the compiler will not execute that line. It will skip it and go to the next line. So that's the use of a comment. So I just want you to imagine that you are working on a project and you happen to be like a hundred people on this project. Yeah. So what comments will pass is that you can know what your colleague maybe in the other country has done. Yeah. So to do that, so you have to because when you are contributing on a very big project, there are various tools, and one of them is GitHub. There are various tools for collaboration. So, but I want you to just imagine a scenario whereby you are close to 100 people and you're working on the same project, and maybe the bit of the work you've done, you've pushed it maybe to GitHub. Yeah, so GitHub is a collaboration platform, yeah, for software engineers who are in a remote setting. So, but then I want you to imagine whereby now you've worked on something and you need help from a friend who is maybe in America. Yeah. So definitely if at all your code is not well detailed, yeah, the other person will end up missing everything. So I just want us to add some small comments here. So I'm just saying these are variables. So still, when you are starting any them, as I said, the main function, fn represents the word function. Yeah. So fn main. So main is the driver function. So uh, to create a variable in Cairo, you can say let x equal to 6. Yeah. Yeah. And then after saying that, I come here and say print ln value of x is, then I close here, then I say x. Yeah. But now you're going to see something very interesting. And then if I say x is equal to 5, I have to get an error. So I want to store this and I want to run it. Yeah. So I store it properly and then I come here, I run it. So I said we run by saying Scarb build. I made a typo. There is a typo in the word Scarb, so I have to come here and say Scarb build. So it is compiling. So it has to complain because there is an error in my code. And the bit that's the bit that I want to explain. Yeah. Okay. It's not complaining, but let me twist it a bit. So there is, can I call it a concept? Yeah. So let me explain it clearly with Visual Studio Code. So if I have a variable and maybe this variable I've named it, for example, here, let me go to my Visual Studio Code. For example, initially I've declared x equal to 6. Yeah. So when I print ln, value of x is x. Yeah. And then I come and then I say x is equal to 5. Yeah. X. So if at all I come and print here x, I can say x is now. You have to add the semicolons after every line. So I'm going to run that. So when you want to run with the whole project, you say Scarb build. So what building does, it builds this file. We didn't, you realize that we didn't have the scarb.log file before. and we didn't have the target file before. So that's what the building does. But if at all I want to run and get results, so I you have to run this command scarb Cairo run. So this one is it returns. Now I want you to not to see what I'm trying to drive to. Yeah. So it's saying cannot cannot assign to an immutable variable. Yeah. So this is what that error means. If at all you've declared a variable, yeah. So the error is saying cannot assign to an immutable variable. So let me explain that error properly. Let me go back to our code. So there is something called ownership in Cairo. So if at all I have my variable and I've called it x and x is equal to 5. Yeah. Here x is equal to into 6. So if at all, yeah, I I intend by me saying let x is equal to 6, that means I've declared x as an immutable variable. So what does that mean? That x cannot have another value. Yeah. So if I want to tell the compiler that x should have another value, I have to say that the value of x can change. That's why, and to indicate that, I have to add a word, the mute word there. So by me saying let mute x, I'm telling it that mutable, let x, I'm assigning x to be a mutable variable. That means x can have another value besides 6. So by me doing that, when I say let mute x is equal to x, yeah, x is equal to 6, and then I come and say there x is equal to 5, it means I declared x. Yeah, I told the this is supposed to be, so we're supposed to add every time we want to get the value of a variable, it has to be in these curly brackets. uh, it has to be in these curly brackets. Sorry, I'd forgotten them. Yeah. So by me saying let mute x equal to 6, it means that x can have another value besides 6. So that's what it means to be mutable. Just declared x as a mutable variable. Yeah. So when I run this, you're going to see that I don't get an error. So let me, and guys, my after at the end of every line, you see that there is a semicolon which is added at the end. So let me share my PowerShell right there. So in case you want to have more space, you can just write clear. So to run my project, first of all, I have to be in within the project itself. I'll just say Scarb Cairo run. So it's running my project. I have to get a result. Just, yeah. So guys, you can see properly. Yeah. So initially, the value of x is equal to 6. Yeah. And then x is now 5. Yeah. So my project says that it ran completed successfully. That means there is no error. So initially I declared x to equal to 6. Yeah. And but remember, I said that when you to make x hold any value, any other value besides the one you've declared, you have to add the mute keyword. Yeah, you have to add this mute keyword. This mute keyword, all it does, it tells the compiler that x can hold any other value besides the one which is being declared with. That's why you saw when I printed, I got the value 6. And when I came and declared another value equal to 5, it now, and then I went ahead to print, it now gave me 5 because I declared x to be a mutable variable. Mutable means its value can change. Any question regarding to that? Gilbert, any question, or Francis or Maria? You can just write it in the chat or you can just unmute and speak in regards to what we've just done. Guys, I want to get some feedback from, have you gotten anything so far from Maria is asking, does it necessarily mean it mutes or ignore the value x is equal to 6? No, this is what happens, yeah? So when I declare let mute x equal to a value, I'm saying that x, yeah, can have either 6 or any other value, yeah. So when I declare it as being mutable, mutable means it can change, yeah, its values can change. So that's the meaning of mutable. It means that today I can have a value 6 and then the following day I can have another value. Any other question? Gilbert, Francis, I want to hear from you from so far what we've done. Gilbert, are we good? Francis, are we good? Francis is asking, why do you use PowerShell not CMD? Very good question. PowerShell is a more advanced command line. CMD is a bit limited in some things, so PowerShell is better. Hope I've answered it properly. Gilbert, any question? I want to hear from you, Gilbert. No question. I believe things are entering. So let me proceed. Remember we are following the Cairo programming language book. One major rule with constants is that constants have to be in capital letters. The documentation is saying Cairo's naming convention, guys, because programming language, just like how you can see English or any other language, or Luganda or Swahili or French, is that there is a way you write things in a programming language. So in a programming language, the syntax matters a lot. The syntax matters a lot. So when we are writing constants, we have to write them in uppercase. In case I want to write two words, I have to separate them with an underscore. An underscore is this right here. That's the meaning of an underscore. So constants have to be written in an uppercase and they have to be separated with an underscore. Constants just help us to, in case maybe I want to record a certain value of something, yeah, I can just use constants. Maybe guys, the other thing that I didn't mention, that you can add a comment here and say constants. Before I continue to talk about constants, I want, guys, my code is not looking so beautiful, so I can wish to beautify it. So to beautify your code, you just head straight here. There are extensions which do that. So extensions, these add some beauty to your code, and maybe as well they help you in case you've written and maybe you've made some errors. They help you to highlight to find the errors properly. So I'm going to install some extensions here. So you just head straight to this first. So when you head to that, you search for here Cairo. There is Cairo 1, there is Cairo 0, so I'll go for Cairo 1 and then I install it. So now what this extension is going to do, that for every Cairo file, it's going to detect it and beautify it by adding some color to it. So now it's being added. Yeah. So you guys, you can now see that my files have some color, which is more beautiful than before. So that's the beauty of extension. And an extension, it's easy to make an extension. You can as well make one. So you can now see that my code looks a bit better than before. Any question in regards to that? I want us to move at par. Maria, any question, or Gilbert or Francis? Gilbert, are we okay? Francis, are we okay? Okay, so I said constants. First of all, they start with a constant keyword. You start with a const keyword, and after saying const keyword, they say that they have to be an uppercase, and then the words are separated by an underscore. So let me say birth here. In Cairo, every variable you write, you have to give it a data type. Yeah, so data types are things which help to tell whether this is a string, whether this is an integer, whether this is a decimal, is it a boolean. So my constant is a birthday in this case, and it's going to be an integer. So when I say U32 as my data type, it means that U means unsigned. Unsigned integer means, numbers in computing, you can have negative and you can have positive numbers. So when I don't declare it as a U, when I don't add that letter U, it means it's unsigned. When I don't add a letter U, it means it's signed. It can have a negative bit of it and it can have a positive bit of it. But when I add a U, it means it's unsigned. It can only have positive values. So you can never have a negative here. Maybe let me say 2000, or let me say 1985. So after doing that, I want as well to print out this very constant. Remember how we print out? So just come here. Then I say constant is, and then you add the name of the constant here, birth here. So when I add the forward slashes to here, it means I've commented it out. That means the compiler won't be able to run that line. So let me print out this and then as well this. So everything that you comment out, the compiler doesn't run it, doesn't execute it. So now let's go back and run our code. So let me run my code. Scarb, Cairo. It's supposed to be in small letters. So it's compiling. It's supposed to return me an answer. Guys, you see that the constant is clearly printed out. Yeah, the const is 1985. Run completed successful. So as we expected. Is everything clear? Yes, Maria is asking an unsigned bytes positives. Yeah, so when I say unsigned bytes or an unsigned integer, it means that, as I said, a number can either be a negative in computing or a positive. But when you declare it with a U, it means you've ruled out the negative bit. So just imagine, this helps you to just imagine you want to declare a variable which stores the age of someone. The age can never be negative, so you have to use a U. Either U, when I say U32, it means the variable is the 32 bytes. When I say U16, it means the age is the 16 byte. So hope I've answered. Any question about the constants? Francis, any questions, you can just write it in the chat or you can ask me. No question from Gilbert. So let's proceed. So we have looked at that. Now we are going to look at some concept called shadowing. So I can write a comment right here. Shadowing. So let me delete this. So if at all I declare x as let x is equal to 30, let x equal to 6, and then I come and say let x equal to x plus 1. This is shadowing in practice. And if I come and say let x is equal to x plus 2, and as well I come and say let x equal to x plus 3. Don't forget to add the semicolons. So now here I want to print the value of x. Every time you see a use of bracket, that means that's a scope, yeah? So this scope is different from this scope right here. So whatever happens in this scope is not the same as what happens. The x here is different from the x here. The value of x here is different from the value of x here. So as to the value of x is x, and then also because there are two different scopes, we have to get different answers. So let me also come and print here. So then I want us to run and we see. Let me run my code here. You're going to see what shadowing is. You just come, or if you at all you don't want to overtype, you just come and use the upper arrow here, upper arrow, and to bring the previous command. So it has given me a result here that the value of x is 7. Yeah. So let me get as well my VS Code right here. So it's saying the value of x is 7. So first we said x is equal to 6. Yeah. We've declared x with the value x is equal to 6. Yeah. But remember in the previous concept I said there is to change the value of x, I have to add let mute x. Yeah. But what shadowing does, it's shadowing doesn't intend to change it tricks the compiler not to change the exact value of x, yeah, but it tricks it to just add something near x, yeah. It's like I'm not getting a whole value and I'm assigning it to x, whereby but I'm just using the original value of x and adding something onto it. That's why you see that x is now 7. So I can add a comment here, overshadowing in progress. And then after that, I talked about the importance of scope. The value of x in this outer scope, this is the outer scope, is different from the value of x in this inner scope. Yeah. So x here is, I've said x is equal to 2. Yeah. Let x equals to x plus 2. Yeah. and then I've said, yeah, I've said let x is equal to x plus 3. So this x is picking this x because I'm using shadowing. But if at all I was to be like, let x equal to 0, yeah, you're going to see that there is a difference. So let me rerun and we see that there is a difference. Guys, you can see it properly. So in the first case, I hadn't yet initialized x. Yeah, if I haven't initialized x, that means it's taking the previous value, which is x is equal to 6. But when I come and say let x is equal to 0, that means now in my new scope, which is this scope here, I've declared let x equal to 0. And when I come and say let x is equal to x plus 2, I'm not intending to change the value of x here, but I'm just trying to be like the original value of x, just add 2. Yeah, that's the trick shadowing does. It tricks the compiler. So hopefully that is clear. Any question in regards to that? There must be. I have to expect some question there. Maria, any question? Any questions in regards to that? Yes, Maria. Mm. Okay, let me put back my screen. Let me put it back. Yes. I go back to the code. Yes, it's there. It's there. Hopefully it's visible. Yeah. Mm. Yeah, but remember there are two different scopes. This is the outer scope. Let me add a comment here. Beginning of outer scope. Yeah. And then my outer scope ends right here. End of outer scope. Yeah. Now whatever value of x here, if I change it here, this is now the inner scope. So beginning of inner scope. Yeah. Now this x here, the value of this x here is different from the value of this x here because the scopes are different. Can you proceed with the question? X is equal to x plus 2. Yeah. Yeah. But that's what shadowing does. It tricks the compiler. Yeah. You can add a comment here. Shadowing in practice. Have you gotten it now? Okay. Thank you so much. Gilbert, any question? Gilbert, Francis, any question? Francis, ask something. Ask about shadowing. Ask because I want us to understand this. It's really gonna be key in the next sessions.